Hello and welcome to this video series on how to put a virtual band performance together. During this coronavirus pandemic, it has become more important to be able to virtually perform together with your bands. And today I'm going to show you step by step how I edit videos together. Now I say how I edit them together because there's lots and lots of different ways to do it. You've got different software, different hardware, but all the skills that I'm going to teach you in this series are all transferable. This video series is going to be in 4 parts. Right now you're watching the introduction, then we're going to make a guide track, then we're going to do audio editing, then finally we're going to do video editing. While there are several ways of achieving a good video, the best way in my opinion is to treat the video and audio completely separate in separate software, so you've got the best control over the way your performance sounds. Now, I'd say that the sound overall is much more important than the video, although the video does play a key role. In the visual aspect, the audio is what people are listening for. So to start, you're going to need a computer. You're going to need a decent computer because video editing especially does take quite a lot of processing power. I'd say in terms of RAM on your computer, your random access memory, I'd say 8 gigabytes is a minimum right now. And I'd say anything more than that, 1632 is ideal for making your video editing speed as fast as possible. You can use Mac or Windows or any operating system as long as the software you choose to use works. In terms of software, the first thing you're going to need is a digital audio workstation, or commonly referred to as a DAW. The industry standard is Pro Tools. You could also use Logic Pro on Mac, which is what I use. You could use FL Studio, you could use Ableton Live. There's lots and lots of different pro softwares out there. But I'm just going to list a few free ones as well because I know a lot of people don't have a big budget to spend on this sort of thing. So a good free one, very good free one is Reaper, which is actually free for 60 days, then it's relatively inexpensive to keep it going after that. You could also use, if you're a Mac user, GarageBand, which is like Logic Pro but a bit simpler. It just doesn't have all the pro features, but everything I'm going to show you today can be transferred to GarageBand. The last free one is Audacity. Now Audacity can be used for this, but it can be a bit temperamental because it's quite old software, but it is still brilliant software and you'll get by with it no bother. In terms of video editing software, the industry standard is Adobe Premiere Pro. Now I use Final Cut Pro on Mac, and you could also use something like Sony Vegas. There's lots of good video editors out there. In terms of free ones, the best one in my opinion is DaVinci Resolve. It's got brilliant reviews. I've used it a couple times and you can hardly believe that the free version is free because you can do so much in it without paying a penny. So once you've got your hardware and software sorted, you've got your software installed after you've done some research, the first thing you'll need to do is put together a guide track for your performers to play along to. Now the guide track makes sure everyone is in time, in tune and playing the right piece of music obviously, because it'd be pointless if they weren't. Once you have a guide track, you should send that to all the performers, then they should record their part on a different device. So they should listen to the guide track on, say, a laptop, then they could record the video and audio with their phone. It's really important that the players don't overload the microphone in their recording device. So do a test beforehand, get the players to do a test. If it's distorting, you could use a different device or you could move further away from the device. But if you're moving further away, you're going to get more room sound and you really kind of want the most direct sound possible. So moving further away is the kind of worst case scenario, but you definitely don't want any distorted audio. The players also need to film their video in the same orientation, and I find landscape works the best. It's the industry standard, widescreen, TVs, YouTube, everything uses landscape, but as long as everyone does the same thing. So if everyone does portrait, that's fine. If everyone does landscape, that's great. In terms of how long it takes to do a project like this, from start to finish, so from creating the guide track to uploading it to YouTube or Facebook or sending it off to SCBF, it's probably going to take a couple of weeks, given time for the players to send back videos. Then if you have to tell people to do it again because something's wrong with the audio or video, you just got to give some extra time for that sort of thing. So without further ado, I'm going to show you step by step how I edit a performance together, and I'm going to use a short and simple performance of Happy Birthday by the Black Dyke Band. But the skills I'm going to use here can be transferred to bigger and more complicated works.